Let's turn to King Charles. It was announced yesterday there'll be no further police action concerning the Prince's Foundation Honours investigation. Now, this was a very interesting investigation that was prompted by a Sunday Times exclusive, which had emerged that King Charles, or Prince Charles as he then was, had received large bags of money given to him by a Saudi donor, and allegedly had offered to help to receive an honour. That Saudi donor did receive an honour, but not a publicly given honour, and not an honour that was ever in any official documents afterwards. The anti-monarchy campaign group Republic described the decision as appalling, and they made a formal complaint to Metropolitan Detectives about Charles and his former close confidant Michael Fawcett back in September 2021. Following other newspaper stories, he'd already resigned, Mr. Fawcett, as chief executive of the Prince's Foundation after he'd been accused of promising to help Saudi billionaire Mubarak bin Mahfouz to secure a knighthood and to get citizenship. This is in an actual letter that was published in the paper. Let's talk about this with Charlie Ray. He's a former royal editor of The Sun. Good morning to you, Charlie.
Good morning, Julia.
Now, you and I, we come from very different perspectives on the royal family, but I always knew this was what was going to happen. The moment that Prince Charles became king, in fact, let's face it, even if the Queen was still alive and well right now, that the police were never going to go forward with an investigation that could possibly look at whether or not the King was involved in selling honours for cash. But I'm afraid if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, I think it's a duck.
Well, let's be fair for a start off. There is no evidence against the King at all, but there is the evidence that we're looking at was against Michael Fawcett, who was a very, very controversial character, Mr. Fawcett. Mr. Fawcett has quit the royal family on 2 or 3 occasions. Once amid allegations of bullying, and then there was the allegations that he received gifts, which was discovered by Michael Peet, who is the Prince of Wales's private secretary. And of course, you've got this one. He's resigned again from these allegations, where he is supposed to have said he would help this Mr. Mufasa get a knighthood on top of his CBE, and also possibly help him get British citizenship. But what you're absolutely right about is none of this does smell very well, to be perfectly honest, that the Metropolitan Police have spent an extraordinary amount of time investigating this matter. Yeah. Now, the King was never interviewed. But
I'm saying the police haven't spent a massive amount of time investigating this matter. How could... I mean, the King then was the person who gave this honour. You say this was a controversial figure, Michael Fawcett. He wasn't controversial at all. He was the Prince's closest aide for decades. Very close to him. And the idea that the then Prince Charles, now King Charles, shouldn't be questioned by police about what he knew when about what, I find extraordinary. I mean, basically, this is deference to, well, yeah, but he's the heir to the throne, or he's on the throne. We can't ask him a question.
I accept what you say, Julia, that there's... The police have not, in my view, have done a complete job on this. They handed it over to the Crown Prosecution Service, who said there's no case to answer. But the point is that Fawcett is the one who, I'm assuming he was interviewed by the police. I don't know, but I'm assuming he was interviewed by the police. But he is a highly controversial character. Now, he's sort of been Teflon backed, if you like, because he always seems to get away with all sorts of things, allegedly. And the big question is he going to come back in some capacity to work for Prince Charles, for the King, sorry, now? I doubt very much if he will, because the one person who, it seems, we're being told, who does not support him at all is the Queen. She's not very happy at all with the fact he's been so close. I mean, he's had so much power rising from a valley, who is supposed to squeeze the toothpaste on the Prince of Wales's toothbrush. And I remember that the King once said, when he was Prince of Wales, once said of Michael Fawcett, I can do without most people, but not Michael Fawcett. Yeah. Well, I'm afraid he will now do without Michael Fawcett forevermore. But yeah, this is going to not look good at all for the king and the royal family, and it will be one of these sort of stories that will keep coming up again and again and again.
Well, and this is the thing. I mean, that original front page exclusive on the Sunday Times about, which has never been, this bit has been known, that the Prince of Wales accepted a suitcase containing €1 million in cash from a controversial Qatari politician as well. It was one of 3 lots of cash totaling €3 million, which he personally received from Sheikh Hamad bin Jassim bin Jabbar Al Thani, the former Prime Minister of Qatar, between 2011 and 2015. And on one occasion, the Sheikh presented the Prince with €1 million, stuffed into carrier bags from Fortnum and Mason. Now, you try and get cash out to do anything these days. You want to have some cash for anything at all. You will be asked that many questions from your bank. I mean, you have to. Everyone knows that there are big question marks about that. No, I'm in no way alleging any wrongdoing because I'm not that stupid. Okay. But when people are handing around carrier bags full of cash, yes, this was cash for his charity.
Yeah.
That's how these things are done. You know that, Charlie? I know that. That's how these things are done. Favours. Why on earth are any Saudi businessmen or Qatari businessmen or anybody else giving millions of pounds to Prince Charles for his charity? Why are any of them being considered for any honours whatsoever? This reeks of, I'm sorry, it reeks of something bad.
Yes, no, I can't argue with you.
But there's no case to answer, apparently, even though...
You're absolutely right. This does reek of something bad. And, of course, there is a wider question as to why we're actually doing business at all in any shape or form with Saudi Arabia and Saudi businessmen, especially in the current climate. So yes, this is going to linger for the royal family, for the king, for some time, despite the fact that the police have not, the Crown Prosecution Service have said there's no case to answer. It is going to keep raising its ugly head. And of course, what's going to happen the next time? I mean, he relies on donations from very rich people, including Saudi businessmen, for his charity. Let's make that clear. It's for his charity. And there's no suggestion that he's put this money in his back pocket whatsoever. But you're going to have to be very, very careful in future with donations that are given. And there needs to be some sort of reorganisation of the way that this charity works.
Yeah, I absolutely couldn't agree with you more on that. Charlie Ray, thank you very much indeed.